Ordering the product backlog effectively is probably one of the biggest challenges product owners face. And there's 1,000,000,001 ways of doing it. And the main thing is to find the way that works for you, that is effective for you and your needs, that gets to you where you want to go. What that is exactly, I can't tell you. However, there are some key markers we can look out for that helps us navigate the path to there. The first one is, it is ordered, which means it has to be a list of some sort, which is numbered 1 through X. My other recommendation, and this is straight from a fantastic product owner and fellow Scrum trainer called Don McGreal, who says, try and keep your product owner no more than 100 items long. Feels probably silly short to some of you and silly long to others, but it's a good aspiration. And the key thing to remember is items 80 to 100, you might not touch them for 10 years. You might never get there even, if the product is not needed or things change to the point where they become without value. So you don't worry about them. You don't have to worry about them too much. They're in there, you won't forget them. Fantastic, move on to the next ones. Now you're on to 79 through 20. Those ones you want to keep in mind. You might want to talk a little bit with them about stakeholders, especially the ones higher up the list, to make sure that, okay, what's coming up next? Maybe those are the things you look into putting together a roadmap for, right? Roadmaps are not part of Scrum, but they are very, very valuable for forward thinking, right? Looking ahead. The key to remember, roadmap is not a promise, right? It's a model. It's a visual model for you to try and understand and talk with your stakeholders about where do we want to go next, what do we think is the next most valuable path for us to take, and give you some indication of when releases might happen. Again, not a promise, just an idea of forecast, dare I say. Items 1 through 20, this is where you want to be spending the bulk of your time. Those should be the items for the next 1, 2, maybe 3 sprints. So that is where you really want to be spending your time refining it and getting to it to a point of readiness. And when we talk about readiness in Scrum, and in Agile in general, to be honest, we just mean that it's doable in a month or less, right? It's doable within the confines of the sprint. I like to go one step further and say easily doable within a sprint, because, well, if you've got a month to do it and you think it's going to take you 28 days to do it, you've left yourself very little leeway if you think it's already that big, right? So easily doable. Now we might have some wiggle room. Again, the reality is it's complex. We don't actually know how long it's going to take us, but we tend to get to work with educated guesses, right, in terms of probability metrics and all other fun stuff, which is a topic for another day. So now they have 1 to 20. Well, that's 20 items. That's much easier to talk to. My favorite thing, and this is because this is how my brain works, but I find others really benefit from this as well, is to visualize it. Have the product backlog, right? The product backlog is the master list. It is the single source of truth, quite literally. Anything that is on there, that's the gospel truth, so to speak, about what we want to go into the product. However, find ways to visualize those 1 to 20 items in a way where you can work with it. I really enjoy story mapping. I find that super helpful and helps me really talk well with stakeholders and product owners and the Scrum team about what should we do next, what's the next couple of releases or sprints going to look like, do we think? Others prefer just doing storyboarding. Others prefer impact mapping. Others prefer just putting them on a mural space or on a wall space and just playing around with them to see what connections can they see. And once they've figured it out, once they found a way to talk to it and work with it together with the Scrum team and their stakeholders, then they put it back as they see fit into that order list on the product backlog. What's good to know is the product backlog is never fixed. It is a living document. It's always going to be changing. It can change 15 times in 10 seconds, right? That's fine. Hopefully it's not always that volatile. That's difficult, but it can be. It emerges as you learn more about where you need to go with the product. So you need to be flexible and open-minded in that approach and think, all right, this is never going to be perfect. See our previous video on perfection, right? And good enough. What's good enough? What's ready to go? What is something we think we can get done, and validate our assumptions around, and work with your stakeholders and your Scrum team, the developers, Scrum Master, to figure out where to go from there. Now, if you have a very large product backlog, maybe you're working in a scaled environment, this is a whole different ballgame. But chances are 1 to 100 might still be too small, because maybe that's just 2 sprints worth of work for all the teams that are working with you. You need to find people that can help you manage this product backlog. You need to be modeling the Scrum values like no one's business. You need to be building trust. You need to find people that you can work with, that you can trust to do a good job of refining this product backlog on your behalf, because you're still accountable as the product owner. So if they do a bad job, it's still on you because you chose those people to do that refinement for you. So you need to spend a lot of time, a lot of effort finding people you can trust and you can work with. And if you do it well enough, guess what? You get to go on holiday. It's a very nice feeling when you get to that point. I wish you the best of luck. It's not an easy job. All right. Thank you very much for watching. And if you like what you saw and you want to hear more about what I've got to say in the future on similar questions, or if you have a question yourself, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. You can also email me at oscar.styf@pragmaticshift.com. Please do like the video, share it with others if you think they might benefit from it, or follow my profile to see stuff as they come out as well. And I would love to be your Scrum trainer. So please find my content on pragmaticshift.com. You can find the courses I've scheduled for the year, or on scrum.org.com as well. Look forward to seeing you in my classroom soon.